Okay, can you see me right now? Because
Yeah,
I am.
you look good.
Okay.
Okay, hi, my name is Renee Hobbs, and welcome to our session entitled Media Pro. Today we feature Ali Reza Bastani, who is one of the leading media literacy advocates in Iran, a journalist and a media educator. We're really delighted that you have joined us for this discussion program. And people are waiting in the waiting room. Let me gather them together. So welcome all to the Media Education Lab's discussion program. Let me just share my screen with you because I do want to talk a little bit about some of the exciting projects, exciting events that are coming up this week. Welcome everybody. So this week we have 3 great events at the Media Education Lab. Today's event, of course, features Ali Reza, and tomorrow's event features Mark Davis talking about infographics in middle school. And on Wednesday, we have a special program called Media Literacy Amidst the Fog of War. And the focus is on decoding wartime maps. Isn't that fascinating? So what a great week we have at the Media Education Lab. And as if you're here, you are part of our professional learning community. We have a saying, everybody learns from everybody. Today, we're really excited to be able to learn from Ali Reza. So Ali, I'm going to turn the slides on and you can take it away. Oh, let me talk to the participants a little bit about our format, because if you're new to the Media Education Lab webinar series, you might not know our format. Generally, our presenter speaks for about 30 minutes. Then we have small group discussions for about 15 minutes. And then we come back and of course we have more questions and we have more ideas. So we start on time, we end on time, but it should be a lively conversation that gives you a chance to meet some leaders in media literacy, including yourselves, those of you who have joined us today. Okay, so Ali, I think I'm gonna share your screen. I'm gonna share the opening slide there with you. There it is. Take it away. You can just say move the slide forward, and I'll be helping you that way.
Okay. I think I don't have access to my file here.
So if I stop sharing, is that now?
Okay, now it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay, right? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, shall I start?
Go for it.
Okay. First, let me thank you, Professor Rana Hobbs, for inviting me to this event, and thank you everyone gathering in this webinar. First, I'm going to explain whatever regarding to the media literacy condition in my country, Iran, and then I will go through the Media Pro campaign, which has been started since last year. You know that the Association of the Iran Media Literacy, or IMEL, has started its activity in developing the media literacy for 6 years. Meanwhile, we have performed successfully our duties and responsibilities in my country. We have been holding lots of webinars and workshops, especially in the pandemic, and some fundamental big jobs so far. Let me explain to you these tasks that we have taken so far. The first one is I personally have been in close contact with the authorities in the Ministry of Education in Iran to have a consultancy seat there to establish the first media literacy teachers training center in Iran for the first time, for which I received their approval to establish the mentioned center 10 days ago. every newly established one. This means that we have the right to present a proposal to the Ministry of Education to rewrite a new version of the media literacy book, which is applicable uh, only for the 10th graders, because in Iran there is only one book for the students in 10th graders at high school, and it is for everyone in the country. But there should be some, let's say, correction in the book, and by this, approval from the Ministry of Education, we have the right to uh, propose our, let's say, suggestion in making and providing a real and a very good media literacy book for the high school grades and with media literacy students. The second thing that we have done recently, we have succeeded to get the permission of the Ministry of Education to do national research on the students and teachers media literacy level in Iran, which will finally lead us to design a model in media literacy education in our country, and will let us have a very good and reliable data bank. Number three, looking back to the history of Iran-US relationship and their foreign policy disrupted with enmity, the Association of Iran Media Literacy, or IML, from the very beginning of its advent, started to design a type of a media diplomacy which could melt the frozen condition of Iran-US relationship by writing a screenplay of Nemesis, what I call screenplay diplomacy, and I am negotiating with the national and international film companies to produce the media diplomacy cinema project. It is worthy to mention that I believe that media diplomacy has become a major instrument of foreign policy, and journalists are more frequently and more intensively engaged in diplomatic events and processes. Sometimes they even initiate diplomatic processes. That is, the mere exposure of diplomacy to the media and public opinion, which finally influences public opinion in a foreign society. It was a bit information regarding to the media literacy condition in Iran, and all the things that we have been able to do in my country so far. And it is worthy to mention everybody that I myself and my colleagues at the IML, we have been trying to run and to hold an international campaign in media literacy that we call it Media Pro campaign. So let me explain my ideas regarding to this campaign in the second part. Our actual aim in running this campaign is establishing the first international media literacy university. You know that to achieve the aim, we should perform the objectives below to show that there are lots of competencies to hold the International Media Literacy University. The objectives are as follows. The first one is that we are going to design an internationally standard curriculum in media literacy education to the world community, which ends to a universal conclusion and a unique outline out of the media literacy in 12 categorizations. If I'm going to explain more in this field, I should say that to achieve the media literacy curriculum working down, we need to have an internationally integrated system to be feasible and applicable in every country who needs to teach the media literacy to the students with the same results out of the education in close future. My team and I made our decisions to make a global campaign in designing an internationally standard curriculum in media literacy through inviting the university professors, journalists, and media educators on the LinkedIn. We were looking to provide our community with a type of comprehensive and applicable curriculum used for all students in our community since last year. Considering an integrated critical media literacy education to be applicable in all countries, we have spent and studied 2 years on the condition of CML in the neighboring countries and others, which showed us totally different from each other. It means that all individuals or media literacy institutions in countries design a type of schedule and curriculum based on their own institutional or state interests, not in favor of the students or people who need to learn the preliminaries of the media science. And that's why we have never reached to a similar conclusion out of our media education to the students. Describing the critical media literacy in one word, undoubtedly we shall say it means the change in all aspects of our lives. So, critical media literacy education focuses the change in communities, and it doesn't represent the change. And it is no longer meaningful as we have never been experiencing such an impressive change in societies yet. Considering the media literacy education as an interdisciplinary course, we noted that there is an interconnection among different aspects of science with the media literacy education, which affects the people's lives in all dimensions. Based on this reason, we have categorized our topics in the so-called curriculum in some sections as follows. The first one, and which is the one that we are doing our research on, the first point, is media literacy and dialogue among civilizations, media ethics, media culture, human rights, democracy and peace. Number two, media languages are citizenship in the three. Citizen journalism. This is one of the items to talk. Media literacy, origin sociology. Media
Uh-oh. I realize that my sharing of the screen is probably troubling the bandwidth there. Ali Reza, are you there again? Have I lost you? What happened? Uh-oh. I was hoping, oh yeah, maybe.
and
Aha, Ali Reza, you cut out a little bit right after you were talking about citizen journalism. That's when we lost you. Oh, now he's gone for sure. Oh well, he'll come back, I hope. I have to admit, of course, I am so fascinated to try to wrap my head around the idea of media literacy in Iran. Okay, there you are, you're back. Okay, so no worries, you're back. We lost you right after citizen journalism, number 3. So please continue. Oh, your sound is not, I do not hear you. Turn your microphone on.
now, am I audible?
Perfect, now you sound wonderful.
Okay. It happens somewhere in my country because due to the weak, connection, web connection that we have. Number
No
4,
worries.
media literacy and media originated sociology. Number 5, media literacy and media originated psychology. 6, media literacy and law. Number 7, media literacy and politics. And this is one of the items that we think on this item, deeply, because it is so important to our students to learn the political knowledge in the media literacy education. Number 8, media literacy and economics. Number 9, media literacy and storytelling. 10, media literacy and happiness. Number 11, media literacy and athletic sports. It is one of the items that I have been putting forward this idea in the academic centers in my country, at the universities, because it is very important. I believe that we have taken the sports as the media careers, not the media itself, and that's why I have put forward this idea that we should take the athletic sports as media itself, not the media device or something.
Nice. Now, Ali
Number
Reza,
12.
before you continue, this is a beautiful list. I have placed the list in the chat. The list is so intriguing, but I have to ask you to say a little bit more about number 10, media literacy and happiness. Help me understand that. What do you mean by that?
For example, in some countries, there has not been, the condition in some countries, as in my country, my own country, there has not been, the target or being happy or giving happiness, among people in communities. And this is the case, okay, in my country and in the localities. Especially, I am referring to Afghanistan, okay? You know that this is the country that people are suffering or have been suffering more than 40 or 50 years of their own history. So it is so important to make the condition of giving the happiness to all individuals in the countries, okay, who have not experienced the happiness for themselves. And I believe that I have made my own, studies in happiness, and I am going to propose to the Ministry of Education for the first time. It is for the first time in Iran that we are going to educate our children and our authorities in all levels of media, in Ministry of Education, with the idea of happiness.
Thank you for clarifying. That was helpful.
I hope so. Okay, shall I go on?
Please.
Number 11, media literacy and environmental changes. And the second one is designing another type of curriculum that is the citizen journalism in accordance with the media literacy definition, which asserts that all students should be capable of generating their own media production. This is very important. We teach our students that they must try to create their own media production, but it doesn't look quite perfect to educate them. For instance, the comparison between different periods of history or whatever. Our students should have a clear idea of whatever related to themselves and people in the communities, as they are going to be influencing positively among people who are suffering from the social, political, and economic problems. So they will be able to depict the societal difficulties in terms of finding a sound solution by reporting their communities' problems. It could be applicable when we make a curriculum in citizen journalism. This is one of the easiest ways to educate our students with the citizen journalism, because it is applicable to all of them. That provides the students with two types. This is our suggestion, to give two types of tutorials, one of which as a printed book, including the knowledge of news, fake news, information, disinformation, misinformation, or whatever. Another part of the tutorial includes a set of videos in 5 up to 10 sessions, intensive sessions, which teaches the students how to shoot their cell phone cameras, choosing the best and the right side of photos, how to put a narration on their documentary, and how to upload them on the social media in order to make the reports reliable and accredited. Number 3, making an international committee in following the media violence in the international courts of law. This is one of the most important items that we are looking for, because we see that 24 hours some dirty companies are producing these dirty movies. I am not talking about the pornography, because I know that there are some regulations, okay, for showing these type of movies. Just I am insisting on the child pornography, which is one of the dirtiest one in the world, and actually destructive for the family basis or something. Then we are looking to do that and to follow them in the international courts of law. And let me tell you that another case that we are looking to follow in the international court of law is a type of, let's say, aggressive and brutal sport game that is called MMA, mixed martial art. It is very important to me because I myself am a karate coach for more than 40 years of my age. And I am a coach. I am training my, students or something in my club and in my gym. But, it is not, I cannot call the MMA as a martial art, because you know that many more channels, TV channels in the world, they are presenting this type of, brutal fights between two people who are going into a cage and they are beating up each other until one of them is seriously injured or one is actually killed. Then by showing them these type of media production on the TV channels, it means that we are truly educating our children by being brutal to each other. So it is not the essence of the media literacy education. And number 4, it is very important to restate the media literacy terminologies used in our classes, such as democracy, peace, justice. You can try what I mean with some of your friends, as I have tested it myself. Sometime I was asking my friends, okay, my colleagues at the university or something, that what they meant by the definition of democracy. Let me tell you that they were answering my question that the democracy was something like freedom or something like that. That is not actually, this type of definition or something. It was the same case when I was talking and encountering with some of my friends in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I asked them the same questions, who never answered correctly to my question regarding to the pure definition of the democracy. This is the same case for everyone, okay, for all international diplomats, okay, in the international atmosphere, that whenever you are asking them, you can never get them the correct answer. So we should say that words speak. It is clear that we communicate with each other through a set of appropriate terminologies, which make both parties understand each other. Media educators teach their students using a lot of, common terms in field of politics, especially politics, society and culture, which do not represent a clear and vivid meaning to the audience, especially to the students. Okay, because students do not have a very wide and vast terminologies in their mind. So most of them, I mean, the students, most of them are concept, they get the concept, not the definitions. So what the educators are going to, it is worthy to draw your attention to a familiar example of peace. Everyone in the political field, they should know Johan Galtung as a peace developer in the world. And Johan Galtung defines the concept of peace as this one. The quest of define as a concept and set of values, okay, is defining the meaning of peace. Was first introduced in the academic literature by Norwegian pioneer of peace research, Johan Galtung, who distinguished between two types of peace. Okay, it is very, very difficult if we are going to teach our students the exact definition of peace to them. Okay, he defines that there are two types of peaces. Negative peace, which is defined by the absence of war or violence, and positive peace, which is defined by a more lasting peace, built on a sustainable investment in economic development and institutions, as well as the societal attitudes after, that foster peace. It is difficult for the students if they are going to understand the exact meaning of peace. It means that we need to have all political terms interpreted as we use them in a lot, we use them a lot in every minute of our lives. It is the same procedure we are still facing with other terms like democracy, justice, reconciliation of nations, and so on. Okay, for example, I have tried to represent my own idea regarding to the exact meaning of democracy. It is my interpretation of democracy. Democracy could be defined as the process which provokes a community to get informed by the media and leads them to a reasonable and intelligent decision making in any important issues in favor of citizens and in participation with politics. Okay, let me go through the mission. These are the missions that we are looking for. The first one, providing a peaceful and comfortable environment for all classes of people apart from their gender, sexism, and no more discrimination. Number two, designing a roadmap to develop the values of a humanness. This is one of the words that I myself have invented this word because I am trying to discriminate between humanness and humanity, because it is the humanity who have made all catastrophes in the world. So we need the concept of humanness rather than humanity, which drives the students and children to love each other so that there will remain no reason and place to hate one another. Number three, educating the students with data searching rather than recognizing what the news and fake news are. As we know that, it is very important. This is one of the points, one of the most important points that we are looking to send to the world community to think about it deeply, because we know that all media production is biased. So it is rational to train the children with data-seeking traits. Okay, let me explain that data is clear, but information is biased. Getting engaged the students practically with the media literacy education, we need to teach them how to create their own media production in terms of data exploring and data mining, not producing information. because information is processed, is structured, or is presented in a given context to make it meaningful and useful. It also involves manipulation of raw data. So when the data is transformed into information, it loses the vividness, the reliability, and consequently, students' media production must be in shape of data, not information. Teachers are supposed to train their students in providing the raw and unrecognized facts. To be meaningful and includes facts, students' observations, symbols, and characters. The word data can be used for a fact or a collection of facts, while information is what we understand from the facts. Let me go through the vision. Okay, our vision is training our children, students, as the egalitarian and altruistic thinkers, influencers, and community leaders in countries and internationally who let people live in peace in the world, save the global environment for the next generation, and awaken the world community with the humanness mission. I have got lots of explanation in my mind, just in order to make more about the campaign, Media Pro campaign, because we have received and we have achieved to very a lot of findings in our team within the recent year. As my teammates have been working on different aspects of the media literacy or something. I have to tell you that our focus group for making the new curriculum or internationally standard curriculum for the student is the high school students, okay? And since it is for the first time that we on making the curriculum, then it is natural that there has not been any methodology for this case. Then my team and I try to make a good methodology in writing the first edition of the curriculum. You know that there has been only one curriculum, presented by the MIL, Media Information Literacy, affiliated to the UNESCO, and whose officer is Dr. Griesel. I have studied all 84 pages of this curriculum. And I wrote a letter to Dr. Griesel that this type of information or this type of lesson that you call as the media literacy curriculum, it is giving lots of information to our students or teachers, but it provokes no action. It provokes nothing among the students to do what, okay? Nothing. And for example, I found just a part of democracy within the text, and I went through this word in that curriculum, but I found nothing related to the meaning of democracy in that curriculum. Then how come is it possible to call such information as a media literacy curriculum while our students and the teachers cannot get any practical and applicable information out of it? Our conclusion is due to all subjects mentioned above, we believe that there are sufficient reasons for all media literacy institutions to think on establishing the first international media literacy university on the condition of performing the objectives, which could pave the way in approaching the aim. Also, I would like to present my suggestions that,
wait. Ali, we're going to
Yes.
hold your suggestions for the very, very end. So let's hold those suggestions until after we give people a chance to discuss. We'll come back to those at the very, very end. So here's what's going to happen next. We've been documenting the ideas that you have shared today, Ali Reza, in the chat. And so if you haven't yet opened up the chat, you can see the ideas presented there. And here are the 3 questions that we would like you and your colleagues to discuss in small groups. Number 1, which ideas presented today resonate with you? Why? Question number 2, what questions do you have about media literacy in Iran? And number 3, what are the pros, the advantages, and the cons, the disadvantages of advancing an international media literacy university? Give me a thumbs up if you understand the task at hand. We're going to turn into 2 rooms. You're going to have about 12 minutes. Please introduce yourself to the people in your small groups as you have a lively discussion. We'll see you back in the main room in about 12 minutes. Okay, so now you are going to click on the link, Ali, and go into that room 1. There you go. Good show. Okay. Go ahead, click on the link, and then that will take you into the small group discussion room. Perfect. Okay.
Renee, that ended so perfectly. I'm so jealous. I want to say it almost in French. I was like, je suis très jaloux, because you just like, usually I get cut off right when I'm like,
When you're picking your nose.
And you had it right there. I was like, oh my goodness, that was so
All right.
fun.
Our small group had a great conversation. Did you have a good conversation in your small group? Why don't we do a little bit of sharing ideas that came up in the small group that were meaningful? We'll take about 5 minutes to do that, and then we'll let Ali Reza make his conclusion. What ideas came up in the small group that were interesting and meaningful to you? Belina, Marianne, Carol?
Well, we discussed the difference between humanity and humanness.
Yeah.
And that there's a tension there. That humanity was the broad aspect of what we would desire for society, and humanness is our internal struggle of just us having prejudices and biases and things like that. And then Denise had some wonderful things to say too.
Oh, well, yes, look, I think you just said it just there. It was beautiful. I was just emphasizing the importance of being able for people to be able to see your full humanity, and the challenges around that, and in whether it's the looking at the creation of various communications that are put out there by people who might not be able to see that because of the lenses that the structures that color the lenses in which they see the world.
Yeah, we talked about we were intrigued by the way that you have approached the topic of media violence. And the topic of media violence has long been an important topic in the media literacy community, but less so in recent years, in a way because we're all so profoundly desensitized, I think. And war and aggression have become so normalized. And we were really intrigued about your position as a martial arts instructor yourself, right?
Yes.
As kind of a stakeholder in thinking about violence. And it also led us to think about how deep values education, I guess, I'm not sure if that's the right term, but how deep values seem to be embedded in the approach that you're using to media literacy, and we thought that was we were intrigued and curious, and we appreciated that. Yeah. And then we left with one question. We didn't have enough time to talk about this, Ali, but we left with one question, which was, given the censorship in Iran, how does media literacy, how can young people learn about making media when their voices are could be controlled or limited because of government censorship?
This is a bit difficult to answer, but I would like to say that since there has not been any scientific approach to the media literacy in my country, and that's why we have never been able to educate the students with the pure and media literacy education to our children. And now this is the time. Okay, this is the time for me and my team to educate all of them with let's say with the essence of the media literacy education among all of them, right? This is the first time that we are going to write the curriculum for the teachers, to make a teacher's book. Then we are going, but it is in the process of a year. But for the teachers, we are doing so quickly within the summertime. And we are going to train the teachers in Tehran, and then, after some months in the whole country. This is the first step. But the second step is we have submitted our proposal to the administration that it is necessary to have changes, or to change the actual book that we have among the high school students, to be renewed, okay, to be re-edited. And because this book is not presenting the actual meaning of the media, of the news, and of the different types of fake news or whatever. It includes some academic concept that is not applicable to the students due to the language that we are using.
Right.
Language.
One of the things that's wonderful is that you carry the passion of the media literacy educator, and it is an ambitious and exciting project that you have taken up, and we are very grateful for your leadership. But I want Belina to have the last word, because she's hosting an international conference in just a short period of time. And Belina, I think your perspective on this topic is something I look forward to hearing. What did you get out of today's session with Ali Reza?
So we had discussed a couple of things. One was I was curious about where media literacy was in Iran. And so we did talk about that. But I think the other part was this distinction about the university piece. And we had talked briefly about where would this have fit? And I think what in part it's not, I guess, so much a university piece yet, as much as it's something that is a built-in curriculum for teacher education and eventually into the schools. I think what I get from this, it's big. This is huge, right? I mean, this is a huge undertaking. If we actually were looking at it at a university stage, where would it be? Are we talking undergrads, graduates? Are we talking doctoral students? And at that point also, what is it are we looking at specifically? Because so many different people have already taken different pieces of this in different ways. I think the other part to recognize is that what I 100% concur with what Ali was talking about is media literacy looks different from country to country. And I agree that when we put out curriculum sometimes, and I feel like this is a big we, UNESCO, you name it, everybody. Sometimes we forget that it doesn't resonate with the people who are receiving it on the other side. And I think that's something that's a little cautionary note for all of us.
Yep. What a fantastic conversation this has been. Look, there's 80 million people living in Iran. Ali Reza, you have a big job ahead of you, and we want to be on your team to support you in whatever way we can, because the work is so important. Let's give Ali Reza a big round of applause. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, you YouTube viewers, we're really glad you were here, even if you're not watching us in real time. Join us again at the Media Education Lab for more. Thanks for being part of it today. See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.